I'd like to call the work session to order for January 10th, 2022. Everybody's here and present. We have two items on the agenda tonight. We'd like to remind council that staff will be pausing intermittently to answer any questions. All right. First item is to consider legacy project in honor of Mayor Georgia T. Lord. Julie's up.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So as we're all painfully aware, Mayor Georgia Lord passed away on December 12th, 2021. She was first elected to Goodyear City Council in 2005, became mayor in 2011, and a position she held until her passing. Mayor Lord considered her crowning achievement to be the development of Goodyear Civic Square at GSQ, which she had been steadily working toward for decades. The city doesn't have a policy regarding naming of buildings or facilities or even items. But since the passing of Mayor Lord, there had been discussion about what could be done in different ways to honor her legacy at that new project. And so staff has gathered what we saw as the different options if council wished to consider naming something at the Goodyear Civic Square to include the city hall itself, the new library, the park, the pavilion at the park, or a tree or a bench, or even a road that surrounds the project. So after reviewing all the different options, it is staff's recommendation to name the new city library at Civic Square in honor of the late Mayor Georgia T. Lord.
Thank you. Councilmember Stipp? Nothing? This side? Councilmember Campbell?
Well, thank you. As president of Friends of the Library, I did poll all of my members. Excuse me. Sorry. And they're in favor of it. And we think it's very appropriate because this is something that we would like to see carried on. I don't know if you're going to just call it the Georgia T. Lord Library or if you're going to name it something similar, but we're very familiar with the Ed Robeson Library at Sun Lakes and have been involved with their friends for the last 15 years, so we know how that works. I do want to put out on the table that if we do name the library, the Georgia T. Lord Library, donations can be made to the library through the Goodyear Friends, and all of the monies that the Goodyear Friends raises or gets goes back into the library itself for programs or furnish a room or provide special things that the staff needs that is not budgeted. So that, and we are a 501c3 under the auspices of the Maricopa County Library System. So that's another avenue to keep her legacy alive. If someone would rather donate to the library in her name, in her memory, we can do that. And we can also, depending on what happens, as a small committee of the Friends of the Library, we have thought of a memorial wall for her that folks could make donations and it would be put like a tree or something. I mean, we have a lot of ideas if that, in fact, is the wishes of the public.
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to honor her in some way. I mean, I think the library, like I said, I know there's history at other cities being named libraries out there. So yeah, I don't think if I oppose it. So I'd like to honor her in some way. I mean, it's not like that's the only option on the table right now. So I think that'd probably be okay to go forward with.
Councilmember Kano.
I'm just curious how we can name the library. It's a county library, is that correct?
So the building itself belongs to the city of Goodyear, but we have reached out to see if the county would be supportive, and they did indicate their support for doing this. To adjust Councilmember Campbell's comments as well, if I may, we didn't want to get in front of council with this discussion, so we would begin meeting probably as soon as tomorrow to, look at what that plaque dedication would look like and what the signage would look like. But we do envision probably on the north side of the library, which is the main entrance, probably above that door is where it would say the Georgia T. Lord Library.
I think the library is a great idea.
Anybody else? Yeah, you good? Yeah, I think it's a great recommendation. So I'm all aboard. It sounds like the rest of the council. I'm not hearing any negative feedback here, so I think you got everything you need.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We'll begin putting the details together, and this is something that we would anticipate unveiling during the Celebration of Life ceremony on January 21st.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The second item is a discussion on the city's signature and community events. We got Arts and Culture Administrator Guyleen Orlansky and Festival and Event Coordinator Brenna Hosey will present.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. All right, this evening, Brenna and I are here to talk to you about special events. We have 3 goals for the work session this evening. One, Brenna's going to share just an update of our returning to in-person in 2021 for our events. It was a tremendous season. She's also going to go through some specific events to talk about some updates, some enhancements, maybe some modifications that we'd like to get council's input on. And then we're going to close out with some recommendations for Civic Square and how we plan to activate that space. Because there's so much that we're going to talk about this evening, we will take a pause after Brenna completes talking about the modifications and enhancements. We'd like to give council time to talk then about those. And after we have that discussion, we'll move on to the Civic Square recommendations. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Brenna.
All right, thank you, Guyleen. I'm going to jump right into it, and I think the best way to tell our story is through our photos. We've had an incredible return to events, and in no particular order, we put together some of my favorite photos throughout the 2021 event season. And I'm just going to highlight a few. We've got the Star Spangled Fourth that was our very first return to events. And we really gave the city something to do because we doubled what our attendance expectance was. So we've looked at numbers from years past and we, knocked them out of the park, no pun intended. So we're very happy with those results. And of course, it continues to be an event that is well sought after year by our residents and even those who aren't residents of Goodyear. It shows, what a great city we are. Then, the photo above it, Ballet Under the Stars, that's what Guyleen and I kind of consider really the beginning of our crazy season where we have something every weekend. And we honestly did not know what to expect. 4th of July, everyone knows it's fireworks. Ballet Under the Stars, that is a signature event that returns year after year. But post-COVID, we were pleasantly surprised that we had roughly 4,500 folks on the lawn at Estrella enjoying the beauty of dance. So very excited that, that was an event that was well received in the community and went off without a hitch. And then after that, you'll see we've got someone on the Jungle Gym, 30 feet up in the air. That is our award-winning 2nd annual Camp Go Back. That event was the first event that we got to test the waters and see what the Goodyear Recreation Campus had to offer. And it was a wonderful venue for this event. And for a 2nd-year event, taking a break after its inception, we had a growth. We went from 1,500 to 2,500 attendees. So very excited of the folks that came out, great partnerships all around the community that helped pull that together. And I think anyone that went to that event had a wonderful time. And you can tell by that sunset, we had the perfect weather to complement it. After that, we had our Fall Festival. That is another highly anticipated community event, and that one was another success. We had a growth in attendance for that one as well. And you can see we've got Lyman and Carey on the field. They are our returning champs for the Trick or Treat Village booths that are on the field. We also have the girls you'll see that did the costume contest. And one enhancement that we added this year is that we had a Diamondbacks ball player come on the field and be our MC with us. So Josh Rojas, if you're familiar with him, he did an outstanding job, and we moved those attendees along very quickly to where we had more than 350 people enter the costume contest, more than 300,000 pieces of candy given out, and about 9,000 attendees for this event, which it felt nice and full, but it didn't feel too full. And it was actually a growth after our 2019 event, which was our last year we did that in person. And then the bottom photo, one of our favorite things at our Veterans Day tribute is the bald eagle. This year, we had a great program. We had wonderful things to offer to the community, and we had very special messages that we gave to the city. We learned through 2020 that the yard signs were a huge hit, and they sparked a lot of individual conversations. So that part of the event returned. And through that, we partnered with West Valley Vets and with Active Duty at Luke Air Force Base and really talked about what is it like to truly honor and thank a veteran, and what would they like to see and how would they like to spend their day. And although this was a wonderful event, we did see a small drop in attendance. And for that, we are going to talk about what we would like to do with our Veterans Day events moving forward, but that'll be for a later slide. Then we go into the later part of our fall and winter events, and something that we'll never forget, and it was a great unveiling of our Civic Square Park, was our 75th anniversary. And we did a throwback to 1946 with a vintage carnival. We had carnival games, we had an 18-piece jazz band, we had a vintage car show, and of course the Ferris wheel that advertised to the whole city, come see us. And something that's really incredible about the 75th anniversary is we had no idea what to expect. This is something we haven't done for 25 years, and it's at a venue that you can't even Google. There is no address. And we're very happy to say we had roughly 5,000 attendees for this event. So I think we really saw what this venue is capable of and what will work perfect for the stage and the lawn for future events. And we're very happy that Georgia got to see that right before the end of the event season. We're astounded with the turnout and with how everything went, and we could see that everybody left there happy. The last event to close out the 2021 year was our tree lighting. Goodyear Glows has turned into a 4-night event. For the first 3 nights, we take Santa to as many neighborhoods as we can with the help of Goodyear Fire Department, and thousands of families line the streets. So we're very happy that they're able to see that our partnership with our own fire department brings Santa to their neighborhoods. But that's not it. We brought Santa to the Goodyear Rec Center, and kids were able to, for the first time in 2 years, sit on his lap, tell him what they want, and then Santa went up to the tree and lit the tree, and it was a huge festivity, and literally the Goodyear Rec campus glowed for that event too. We left the tree up for a whole month, and the remarks that we got from the community was, this is absolutely beautiful, this venue is perfect, and don't change a thing. So you won't see too many enhancements for Goodyear Glows. We're going to stick to what works. But we will talk about, on the next slide, things that we do want to change for the upcoming event season. So something that's near and dear to my heart is Heart and Soul. That event is, I think, 25 days away. And just through my own connection with the running community, I have learned that we have such a beautiful space to expand the route and make it a 10K. So I'm very happy to say that Heart and Soul is going to be a 10K this year. And that's opening us up to more demographics that have not ran down our Goodyear streets before. It's truly beautiful. And as fast as Goodyear is developing, it's amazing to run through the ballpark, through the cotton fields, near the airport, everything like that, and just get to show off our great space. So that's an enhancement that we are actively doing as we speak, and it is getting well received in the running community. And we're also partnering with HR and with the Goodyear Rec Center to encourage people to join this event. So it just shows that Goodyear cares, and we're very excited about that one. We're also going to partner with folks that can help us with a Juneteenth celebration. And we say partner because we want to do it right. We want to talk to experts who have done this celebration, and we don't want to miss the mark. So we're going to present concepts, venues, activities, things for you to consider that we're going to do for our Juneteenth celebration. But just know that Guyleen and I have already started to work on that and work on our venues and partnerships so that Goodyear doesn't miss the mark and we do a spectacular Juneteenth. One thing I do want to mention is we did just mention that Goodyear is growing and it's developing, and Lori can tell you there's never an end in sight. So we're keeping that in the back of our mind as we continue to plan the Star Spangled Fourth, which is our highest attended event. We had 10,000 in the stadium and about 10,000 parked outside the stadium. So as we continue to develop, we will be working on alternate solutions, whether it be a different type of show, a smaller show, multiple. We're going to present that to you, but just we're good for 2022. But just to give everyone a heads up, as Goodyear grows, we will have to adapt our events to that growth. And then lastly, as I had mentioned previously, Veterans Day tribute. I've had a chance to sit one-on-one with the West Valley Vet Center or with the moms of, those who are currently serving, or with the spouses group, or with the band that came out. The feedback that they gave is that we would like to do something a little less formal, something that doesn't require our active duty to work on their off day. And we're proposing a week-long art installation where it's multiple artists who are actively doing a dedicated memorial to the veterans, both serving and retired, but that you can come out and network and do this on your own. And I think what this does is this combines the two things that we've done over the years past. It creates multiple conversations organically, which is what our yard signs did, but it also provides a venue and a location for a celebration. And so speaking of celebration, after a week of the artist painting live at Civic Square, we would end it with an informal food trucks, band, just get together, wonderful live music time for people to really have those conversations without feeling like they're there to serve at their own event. So that will pose a big change in how we do our programming, and it will give it a more informal approach. And so that's something we want you guys to think about. And on the next page would be a little bit of imagery to kind of get some ideas started. I love that photo of the painter sitting on the scaffolding with the painting behind him, because it's exactly what I envisioned for our Veterans Day event, is to just kind of get a little more organic reach out into the neighborhood. So with that being said, before we go any further to the Civic Square events, I wanted to open it up to you, Mayor and Council, to see if you had any questions or comments about our previous year or our upcoming suggested enhancements.
I'll start over to the left. Councilmember Stipp.
Thank you so much for everything so far. It was not surprising we had such a great year last year after everybody was, hunkered down for all of 2020. And the energy that came out of the 75th party was absolutely incredible, and that was not a COVID energy. We would have that earlier in the year, but by the time November rolled around, and that was very exciting. So to see that and to experience that is, I think, something that I am hopeful that you are looking at as some way to build upon that. The other enhancements I'm fully supportive of. I think you're right about the veterans event. We need to do something different. We had not done anything previous to the stage out at the ballpark and the speeches by everybody. So the first time we did that, and the year after and the year after, that was something new. But I think you're right. By the time we got to this year, it's time to retool. So I'm looking forward to whatever neat event that you guys have, because you have so far been just doing a bang up job. So I'd like to see. Personally, I think there may be an opportunity for us to capitalize on the city's birthday celebration as something to think about. It's the right time of the year. The temperature is good. That maybe that is something that we think about from a community event perspective. But so far, I have absolutely no objection to anything that you're proposing. I hadn't even thought about changing the 4th of July, but you're right. that area is going to be filled with residential and industrial, and we've got to find something else because we don't have that kind of land anymore. And that, I think, will be your greatest challenge in the next couple of years, is figuring out what to do, because that event generates so much positive feeling in the community that we can't let it go. And I'll stop because I'm sure someone else wants to go on down that road.
Councilmember Loretano?
Thank you. Thank you both, and thank you very much for all the hard work in the last year. And I agree 100% with Councilmember Stipp on everything he said, that you've done a great job, and it's great to see people out again and participating as families, people of all ages, and all the different aspects we had. I really enjoyed the 75th, the music. I saw young people sitting there enjoying it, older people sitting there dancing. I thought that was really great, the live band. So I really enjoyed the live bands, the live music, what you're talking about. I know before we did the more static presentation for Veterans Day, we participate with Pebble Creek in the parade. And so it might just be a good time for a retooling. And, I kind of like that idea. I think, kind of see how it works and feel free to tweak it as the years go on a little bit. I think that's the only way we can find out where the sweet spot is and where we can get people to participate and honor our veterans and in different ways and have those conversations. So I really do like that. I also really do like the fact that we're going to do a Juneteenth celebration. I think that is very important, and I like that you're looking for the partnership so we can give that the respect it deserves. Same like Veterans Day, we want to make sure it has the proper respect, but we also want it to be a festival in a way, a celebration, not festival, really a celebration to bring people out. And it's like our Veterans Day, it's a teaching moment on what our veterans have done to serve the country. I think that can be another teaching moment that can be for our residents as well. I agree 100% with the 4th of July. I love that event. I don't want to scale it back, maybe move it or see how we can do it. It's just, I don't really know how you do that, because even with the only criticism I heard about the Christmas was even the parking there was difficult. So that might be something that we need to look at. And it's just because you're successful. So I like all the events and everything you've added on. So thank you.
Thank you.
Over there, Councilman Loretano, and we'll work it. Go ahead, Kano.
It's really exciting that we have so many venues now that you can really look at things differently. And I do appreciate the fact that you are looking at your events and how they're working, and it's okay not to do what you've always done. And really appreciate the level of creativity and energy that you and your team bring to our events. Like Councilwoman Loretano said, I'm really excited that you've immediately embraced Juneteenth, and we'll look to do something very proactive and very honoring for that. I think you've got a stable full of venues, and that's going to give you a lot of opportunities to do things, large things, small things. And the 75th anniversary was just off the charts. I think that's one of the best events ever been to. Goodyear Glows. I mean, there was so much fun and joy and energy at that event, and it was a perfect venue. It was really easy to move around and spread out. And I also liked the food trucks, and at the veterans event, they had community tables, like various vendors or services that serve veterans. I thought that was helpful as well, just to help people get connected in. But looking forward to your ideas and proposals.
Thank you.
Councilmember Campbell,
I don't have anything to add.
Vice Mayor Brandon.
Yeah, I love the events in the city. I think you guys do a really great job. And to echo everybody else, the 75th anniversary was outstanding. My family and I really enjoyed it. There's lots of positive energy. I feel like we really arrived as a city, seeing our new city hall and how everything came together. So it was really a really fun event. So I think events are really a cornerstone of a good community, because it makes a large community feel smaller. So having all of these different events throughout the year, I think it just makes the community stronger and more united or more engaged with each other. So I do appreciate the 10K distance. I tried to sign up today for the Heart and Soul, and I had a user error, so I need to go back and do that again. Yeah, Juneteenth, I like to, I don't know, I know I mentioned it when we were talking about it, that if we're going to have a staff holiday, we should make Juneteenth the best it can be. So I'd be interesting to see what that's gonna look like. So that'd be great to see that as well. Star Spangled, the same thing Ariel said. It's a great event as well. It's always fun to see. I like it at the ballpark, but I understand. Thank you for being proactive and looking ahead. So, and Veterans Day, yeah, I also agree. I think it should be retooled, and I like that you guys are being creative with everything that you do. So thank you for continuing what you guys are doing. So that's all I had. Nothing negative, all positive. So thank you.
Well, there's not a whole lot more to add to all of that. I agree with everything that you heard here. You know, there are a lot of partners out there in the community, especially on Juneteenth. I know Pebble Creek's got some clubs out there that could really be helpful in getting some feedback on how you might want to put that together. But every time I've gone to your event, I've been very, very pleased of everything that you do and the time you put. And we always get great kudos from what you do. So again, thank you for that. And go on.
Thank you. All right, well, with that being said, I'll pass it back over to Guyleen to talk about Civic Square events.
Great, thank you, Brenna. Yeah, so this is, the first part was exciting. This even gets more exciting because, you know, as you saw at Goodyear 75, we got this like snapshot of what this space is, what's possible in this space that's being built right now. And our team is really excited about that. So we looked at this in like 3 phases. We looked at what events we're doing now that really are a better fit for Civic Square, you know, because we do have like this great list of venues that we can go to, as Councilmember Kano mentioned, and now we can really find the perfect space for these events. We also have been brainstorming what new events we'd like to bring out at Civic Square, as well as new activities. So I'd like to start out with talking a little bit about the events we'd like to move to Civic Square. Currently, we do a campus concert series, and with that stage at the new park, that is the perfect space for these campus concerts. We'll rename it, of course, but we'll come to the concert series at the square. It's the perfect spot. It makes this great destination location, and it's set up for these very well. Along with that, Shakespeare in the Park is an event that's, you know, we're coming into our 2nd year this year doing this event. A lot of energy around this. People are really excited about Shakespeare in the Park. And this will be its kind of forever home. You know, 1 year it was at Blurred Wash because we had limited attendance. This year we're going to be at Goodyear Community Park. But for 2023, we'll be able to go to Civic Square, and that's where it will stay. And then we also would love to bring our art festivals, whether that's the Art of Cultures Expo or Art Bash. This is the space that's the perfect fit for those. Now, moving on for new events, you know, our staff sat down and we looked at where we have some gaps and things that we'd like to do and what fits well in this space. And so movie nights is one thing that we'd really like to see there. And so that first one you see is Hark in the Park. With us being right next door to Harkins Theater, we see this as a perfect opportunity to partner with them and do some outdoor movie nights in the park. We also would like to have some dance events, not passive events where I'm sitting and watching someone dance in front of me, but events where we get people up dancing. You know, we figure we can, you know, call it square dancing. We're going to be on the square, but we don't have to square dance. No do-si-do. We'll go ahead. We can do some salsa dancing, you know, we could have some ballroom dancing. Who knows what we can do out there, but we see a really fun way to do some dancing there. And then we also would love to do a yoga event, Go with the Flow. Have an all-day event festival that explores all the varieties of yoga that's out there with vendors. You know, it's this niche audience, and I think it would be a great space in that beautiful grass area. Along with those, of course, we want to have some food truck nights. We want to bring a farmer's market series because these are all things that will fit perfectly in the way that space is built. Now, the last piece on this is we're thinking this falls back towards the holidays, and we're looking at new activities for the square. So one of our performing arts events is a holiday variety show that we do, and we would like to transition that into Dickens on the Square. Full costume and really set up, have some artisans, a marketplace to really go with this Dickens, with the performing arts piece with it. I think this is a great space for it. And staff is also exploring what a temporary ice skating rink would look like there. You know, where can it be? What does that look like? but it is the right space for something like that. So we are exploring that at this time. So as you can see, here's just some inspiration imagery of what we're kind of thinking. And, again, this is a destination location. This is going to be an exciting space. This is going to grow really quickly in this area, I think, once our city hall's done in this park. And people are going to gravitate to here. And really, we want to make sure we're making it this engaging space where people can come out, feel that sense of community that we have here in Goodyear. And it really enhances the quality of life for our residents to have these activities they can pop out to on a Friday or Saturday to enjoy. Now, before we go on to discussion, I did want to just flash up a quick snapshot of our lineup of events. This isn't any of the new events we just spoke about, but these are our scheduled events. As you can see, we are in our various locations, really capitalizing on our spaces that we have for our events. We have events that run from February 5th all the way through. We haven't picked a date for Dickens on the Square, but that'll be probably mid-December. And so we have a full year lined up of great things for people to get out and do and celebrate with each other. And so this evening on the Civic Square piece, what I'm really looking for is to hear from you if staff is headed in the right direction, if the events that we're proposing is what you were envisioning, and just hear your thoughts on that. And with that, it concludes my presentation.
Let me start over here on the right side here. Vice Mayor Hampton, how about you?
Yeah, once again, I think these are all going to be great events. I like each one of them. The ice skating rink, I know you're still in preliminary thoughts around it. Would it be like a plastic rink, or would that be a actual ice there?
I think if we're going to do it, we need to do it right. So we're going to propose costs for real ice.
Okay, great. My daughter will be very excited about that. And then, I like all the other ideas. I mean, yeah, I think it'll be a fun event. And like I said, it just brings the community closer together, and a lot of signature events and a kind of reputation of the city that you can have. There are things you can do in the city of Goodyear, and they're fun things. So thank you.
Councilmember Campbell?
Well, I like the lineup. It's similar to what we are used to, and I like that you're using all of our locations rather than just moving everything to Civic Square. Because quite frankly, the 75th anniversary was a once-in-a-lifetime event that we put together, and we really didn't know how it was going to work. And as we go forward, we're going to find what really works in other venues there than just the 75th anniversary. So as long as we are open to try it, and what works, great, and if it doesn't work, we'll try something else. So I really like having the rec center being used and the ballpark being used up, because those are really wonderful amenities for the city. And I don't want us to just make everything to go to one location, because then we miss all of the other things that are so good for our city. But I like what you're proposing, and I hope to see some additional stuck in if something doesn't work out.
Councilmember Kano?
You're definitely on the right track. Thumbs up on the ice skating rink. I think that would be a ton of fun. People would love it. The things that you've proposed really bring out a multi-generational audience, which I think is really what we're looking for. And the only thing I would suggest is, summer evenings get really long here, and maybe throw in some concert or dancing during the summer, just because when it cools off, towards the end, it's just a nice break to get out of the house.
Councilmember Loretano?
Thank you for a great slate of events. Those look like a lot of fun. I know Harkins a couple months ago did something like on the rooftop on one of their theaters, and they showed on the roof. It was, I think, in Tempe or something. I'm not sure, or Scottsdale, but it was Harkins doing it, because I got an email about it. So if we could partner with them, that would be great. I love the ice skating rink. I mean, that is just perfect. And I'll throw out another thought too. Downtown had the ice skating rink for a while. And then in the summer, somebody brought in one of those flow riders that you surf on. It's like, you'll do that. It's a blow. And there were people would come like from the businesses downtown, change for their gym clothes, go do that, and then go back to work. I mean, so there's so much you could do that, I'm glad you're trying all this new stuff. So, and I like that you have different varieties of different stuff. You know, that's what's really good. One thing I would love someday would be maybe this could start with the Harkins movie nights. I would love to have a West Valley Goodyear Film Festival, because Phoenix has one, Chandler has one. We don't have one. Nobody in the West Valley does. So that could really be someday a signature. You know, we've got the only theater pretty much out in the whole West Valley. So, you know, maybe we could talk to Harkins too as we kind of start this up and kind of get a film festival out of this. Just my thoughts, but great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Stipp?
I love the idea of a film festival. That makes a whole lot of sense. And I completely agree with Councilmember Campbell that we've, you know, spreading these events out among the different locations is really important. You know, I didn't see anything on the list that made me, you know, wrinkle my nose or anything along that line. And I agree. I think taking chances and figuring out what's working and what isn't working are all, it's a good strategy going forward. The practical side of me, because I don't have a creative side, but the practical side of me says, we're planning an awful lot of things. What about, you know, we have a partner in there. There's an office building that's in there. We've got to make sure that we aren't, you know, being disruptive to whatever business or businesses are in there. So while I'm excited about using the Civic Square Park, I want to make sure that we are being good partners in that area as well. We don't want to take away from the Class A office space by turning the whole area into a carnival and then have everyone say, well, I'd move my office there, but I can't get past the fill in the blank. But I think bringing some of these different things out is going to drive some folks, and I'm beginning to figure out that sometimes smaller is better. You know, the painted hearts throughout the city were such a huge success, and it was such a non-event that, you know, letting that park not be programmed for a while and just see what people do with it, I think is a good opportunity for us as well, because it may just be the place that people want to, that may be the only spot of real grass that anybody can go to and just hang out at. So I think maybe even taking a wait and see approach and seeing what the community does with it. If it turns into a beer garden, then we've got a whole nother problem. But if it, you know, so, but I'm fully supportive of everything you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got some good suggestions coming up in, you know, up and through there. I really enjoy what you put together. I mean, since I've been on council, I've always wanted, and we've got now multiple places of community gathering points. A place where the community can gather and enjoy the amenities that we produce. When we put the rec center together, yes, we had the ballpark, but the ballpark really wasn't it, you know. Now we have an actual rec center, and it's fully getting used. We're getting great reviews from that. And now when the Civic Square opens up, that's another great place to bring. And it seems like for this community, it's a way of bringing us all together and enjoying each other, so to speak. Sometimes it's a little hard to find out there, you know, with the kind of environment that seems to be operating. So, you know, I look forward to anything you get there that's positive, you know, that brings the community together. And I think this is going to be a great success. I really do. But to the point of Councilmember Stipp had mentioned, just make sure we kind of get the buy-in from the people that are also be there. But I'm really looking for the community events there. Thank you.
Thank you for all the feedback. We appreciate it. We'll take all that into consideration and modify our plans per that. And thank you for this evening.
Thank you.
Is that it for you? All right, we have a regular meeting at 6, so it looks like we've got another, 20 minutes there. There'll be no further business discussed. This meeting is adjourned.